So let's talk about She-Hulk episode 5 called Mean, Green, and Straight Poured Into These Jeans. I am a day late with this. I didn't get around to watching this until a few minutes before I recorded this video. And it's going to go up right after I finish recording it, so you'll get it right off the press here, for lack of a better term. Have you ever had one of those days where, like, you're sleeping pretty much all day? It's like your body's recovering from not having enough sleep. That's kind of where I was at yesterday. It was weird. I slept like 20 hours, yo, like on and off. It was crazy. But I'm awake now, and I knew I had to do this. And I watched the episode, and I did like it. It wasn't maybe as good as some previous episodes, but I did like what the show kind of represented and what it did and the comedic aspects of it. But I've noticed, I have had some people tell me that this episode in particular, and others have actually stated on YouTube, that it's a bit woke. And I've had people tell me the show itself is woke. And I'm watching this episode, and I do understand why some people have said the episode is woke. There is a line in the episode about, She-Hulk, who her dates from the previous couple episodes, they come back, including David Otunga. Talked about that here on the channel. Because what happens is, let me get to the plot, I'll get to the woke stuff. So the plot of the episode is Tatania has created a line of beauty products called She-Hulk. And so she trademarked the She-Hulk name before, She-Hulk, for lack of a better term. Well, I guess the better term would be her legal name, Jennifer Walters. Before Jennifer Walters was able to trademark She-Hulk, she got it. She put out a line of beauty products, and Jennifer's like, wait a minute, that's my name, even though she didn't like her name at first. So she ends up needing to go to court with this, and so she ends up getting her attorney, is not her. She does not self-represent. Instead, she gets Mallory Book to represent her, who actually is a character from the original She-Hulk comics, from, not the original, that's not right, from 2004 She-Hulk #1, not from the original. So like I've said before, the MCU borrows from different aspects of the Marvel universe, the old and the new, and I would consider 2004 more newer. I don't consider '04 like old school comics. I consider like anything before like the 80s to be old school comics, or maybe even the 90s, maybe because of my age, but I just feel like 2004 is still way past when the original character was created. So, long story short, they brought her in, and that ends up being her plan. So what ends up happening is, that's the A plot. The B plot is She-Hulk wants to get a new suit that will fit her smaller body and her She-Hulk body. So they do this sort of thing, kind of like what the boys have done successfully, where they kind of are mocking or making fun of superheroes. Kick-Ass kind of did it first, Really, in my opinion, I think Kick-Ass, you can go all the way back to like Blank Man when you think about it, or even The Mask. But I think Kick-Ass really was the first movie that came out after the big original superhero boom of the 2000s that really sort of brought some lighter tones and more comedic tones to superheroes, as far as movies and TV go. There's been others, but that's one that really got big. So She-Hulk is really adopting that by showing us this character who designs clothing for superheroes. He designs clothes for superheroes, this sort of androgynous kind of character. So that's the B plot, is her finding her suit that will fit with both. Of course, he's this big, prissy, snobby Hollywood type. The typical, stereotype for a fashion creator, which I guess they got from Liberace or whatever. I have no idea. I don't know much about fashion. But that's the B plot. The A plot is this lawsuit. And what ends up happening is Titania wants to retain the She-Hulk trademark because Jennifer never trademarked it, but then what ends up happening is, to win the case, they have to get her old dates and her old dating profile that show that she was using the name She-Hulk. Even though she didn't like it, she was using it in an endearing term to, for her dating profile. So they bring back all these guys, and it's very humiliating for her, but it's not that bad. And so what ends up happening is, and that was all good stuff. Like, these actors are all really good at what they do. And she ends up winning the trademark. Like, she gets her trademark back. Titania has to relinquish all of the She-Hulk body of products. And they actually have a funny scene early in the episode where she confronts Titania, and Titania is not afraid. She's almost like got the upper hand on her for having She-Hulk beat her in the first episode. But they end up, she wins the case, and she goes out to court, or she goes out to dinner with her attorney, with Mallory. And what ends up happening is she has a line where she's like, these guys think that with an internet connection they can pick up any girl they want, or something like that. And I actually, look, I feel like if you're using this to push the culture war of wokeness, I'm not a big fan of things that are like, I guess, and I've talked about this before, things that are, forced diversity or forced wokeness. I'm not a fan of that. But if you're really offended by that line, I think you're a very sensitive person. I feel like a lot of the people on this platform who are the anti-SJW, when you really peel back the way they behave and the things they say, they come off extremely insecure, extremely petty, or they come off like guys who want to use your anger to make a profit. And that happens a lot on YouTube. There's a lot of dudes out there who know exactly what they're doing. They're feeding into this anti-woke culture war. Because to me, like, I didn't see this as being offensive at all. Like, the dates were played up to be funny. The daters were played up to be funny, the men that were going after her. And the entire idea is that she's this attractive, funny, successful attorney, and she can't even get these guys to like her except when she's She-Hulk. It kind of shows, that some dudes are very, I guess the word is, shallow. But that's how the dating world can be sometimes, on both men and women's sides. And I feel like people getting mad at this are people who have either never dated or are just really, really sensitive. Because, look, I have seen things in media that have been super woke. Like, you know what I mean? Like, super duper woke. Some of the characters in modern Star Wars are definitely woke. Some of the characters, well, not some, almost all the characters in the 2016 Ghostbusters film, that went like a whole new level where it was actually insulting men. I haven't seen the Rings of Power yet. I want to see it. I've heard mixed things about it. But for me, this was not enough for me as a heterosexual male to get offended. It just, these things don't piss me off. Like, 2016 Ghostbusters did it so much that it got annoying. This, to me, I don't think this show is woke. I think they are going to have some gender and some sex-based jokes. But it's not going to be a thing where they're hammering over the head that men are incompetent, because obviously one of the main characters of this show, well, two of the main characters are men. Mark Ruffalo, of course, playing Bruce Banner. Her cousin is a man. He's very intelligent. He's a down-to-earth guy. Then you've got, of course, coming up Charlie Cox, the Daredevil. He's another guy. And we see a tease for him here at the end of this episode. Because it looks like the what's in the trash can of the Jacobson fashion line is going to be the Daredevil's outfit. So I mean, that to me sort of made me feel like, yeah, this show's not woke. You've got enough strong men here, literal heroes around She-Hulk. It is from a woman's perspective in that she's the main character, but I think people on this platform and all over the web are just way too sensitive to this woke shit. And they think that anytime there's a joke that makes men look bad, or a joke that is pro-woman, or even a pro-woman character, that suddenly it qualifies as being woke. And a lot of times they're reaching, but the problem is a lot of people who have that same mentality follow along with it. And I just don't, I'm too secure in who I am as a male. I'm too secure in who I am as a person to sit here and get offended over one joke in a damn show. It's dumb. Like, where else on this show have they portrayed men to be incompetent? I don't think that the magician from the previous episode, Donnie Blaze or whatever, I don't think that dude was incompetent. He was just a shyster. I feel like it's really going to a point now where it's embarrassing for somebody like me to go online and see that so-and-so is woke, because this show, yes, it has a female main character and it has female characters, but to me it's not woke. Like, this is not woke at all. And those guys are very shallow. The joke being that She-Hulk might be able to get men because she's famous and powerful and this and that, but Jennifer's just a regular girl. I get it. Like, it actually makes sense when you actually remove your head from the internet bubble and go out to the real world. I didn't see anything, especially from her, that made me think that these guys were anything less than shallow. They're just shallow dudes. And unfortunately, a lot of people are shallow on both genders, men and women. You know, we see that here. I just feel like this woke shit is just embarrassing to me. I just feel like it is. I don't think this is even woke at all. But I did like the episode. Not my favorite. I did like it. I like how it tied into previous stuff. I liked how it tied into the dating and the Tatania stuff. And the big tease going into the next 4 episodes is the appearance of Daredevil, which I'm looking forward to. So we'll see where that goes. What did you think? Let me know. We'll talk soon.